Okay. I think now we are live already. And I think that it's already time. Yeah, some just seconds. Okay. I guess we can start already. So, hello everyone. Today our guest is Martins Bitsevskis. He's a professional board member, mentor, and angel investor. Martins serves as a board member in various private and state-owned companies and organizations. He is a former state secretary of the Minister of Finance and Minister of Justice in Latvia. He has served as member of board of directors in large state-owned companies in the real estate and energy sectors. He is mentoring and investing early-stage startups. Welcome, Martins. I'm so glad to see you here in this session, and thanks a lot for accept our invitation. And before we start, if you have some words to say, you are welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, good to see you, and thanks for having me here. So I'm happy to talk about investing and growth of the early stage companies always. So I'm looking forward.
Thank you. Okay, guys. As you know, today's topic is PhD Innovators, startup navigation and funding. So, as we know, nowadays the trending options for the PhD students after they graduate from academia, they should either stay in academia or just they can go to the industry. But we have some PhD students who wants to start their own business and they have product, they have the startup idea. So we thought about them and we thought that there is also lack of information they have or they may have in academia. So I decided to choose this topic for today, and our guest is quite experienced about this topic. So let's start with questions. The first question is that, as an experienced startup mentor, what would be your advice to the current PhD students having their startup or wanting to enter this ecosystem?
Usually, always near the universities are some structures which are supporting kind of activities, whether those are hubs or accelerators or whatever, but definitely there are. And in my mind, when I see those cases when people from universities come with some ideas, then definitely I'm always suggesting to get opportunity to start some project together with those programs. Of course, it depends. It depends of the stage of idea, whether someone has already quite an idea or prototype or product or something, or this idea come from some work in some industry. So this is something already concrete, or there is the quite a feeling of market need. That it could be different stages. Anyway, I would start with some good program which is appropriate for that kind of stage, and that's the one option. Second, if there is already quite a good progress with whatever prototype or something like that, then definitely I will look for grants as well. Whether there are good options for catching some opportunities and getting some support from whether state or universities or other programs. And there also could be opportunities in the market. For instance, I don't know in Estonia, but in Latvia, for instance, we have one specific program together with Acceleration Fund Commercialization Reactor, when they start much earlier as typical acceleration fund would start. So they are pitching ideas from scientists to the entrepreneurs who would like to start some startup. And then they create the teams which would start from the beginning, from the scratch, only with kind of level of just prototype or idea, where all the initial work, it means discovering the right industry, discovering the market opportunities, etc., is ahead. So, as I said, there are a lot of opportunities. In always, it depends on stage of idea or prototype level.
Thank you. And next question is that what are the different rounds of funding according to the growth phase of the startups?
Again, it's definitely important to understand in what industry we are, because if we are talking about software, then it's totally different as we would talk about hardware or deep tech or stuff which need much more time to validate and even to create some prototype, and it depends on how much money you need to create something which you could start to test in the market. For software, it's like 3 to 6 to 9 months of period to build MVP, and then start to test, But if you talk about some technology, then it could take years just to build the first prototype, And then from that perspective, again, it's important to understand whether we need to start with just public funding to work with creating some acceleration prototype, or we need to go much faster with some market money as well. Anyway, I never would suggest start with VC money or something like that. I always would suggest start with a bit own money, and then someone who believe in your idea, and then of course nowadays FFF money, it's not so already common. It could be different in conventional business. It works, but when you work with scientific ideas and deep technology or complex ideas, then definitely public money is one of the best opportunities how to go forward. I would always say that when we come to the commercialization, to the real idea of the business, it's when you have already whether unique idea which you have some proof of concept from industry, whether you have some already kind of level product which you can start to test with the industry. So that's kind of stage when you start to seek money, whether from acceleration funds, early stage or angel investors.
Mm-hmm. So, if I understood correctly, if the idea is still like developing the prototype, so we can use the public funding, right?
As one of
Okay.
opportunities. Of course, there could also be opportunity to find some industry investors who are definitely interested, particularly in that kind of technology, and they believe in the future and in the potential, and they see market potential. And then they are ready to finance some stage which is earliest stage as it would be like typical investor.
And if we're saying that, let's say, if we get the funding from the public investing or the like private investor, what is the like terms of that? For example, do we need to give some equity to that person in return, or what is the condition?
Usually, it depends again, but usually we use convertible loan instruments because when there is so early stage, there is no point to create fundamentally a new structure where first investors come in, etc. So it's easier when there is just company and founders are there and they have their internal proportions, etc. And then financiers give loans or convertible notes or something like that, which could convert into the equity under some conditions. Whether this is next round, whether this is a challenge to move forward and risk that business is under big question, but still investor sees there some opportunities. So there could be kind of conditions when it could convert in equity. But otherwise, early stage startups, I would suggest to finance with some more loan instruments in the beginning, or when those are grants, then that's easy. Grants are grants, you know.
Mm-hmm. And this is a bit kind of the questions go not as we planned, but it's kind of interesting to ask. Let's say that we took the loan to develop the prototype, but then we failed, like we couldn't. So what happens to that loan? Should we pay back, or what is the like process after that?
It depends on the conditions, whether this is public money with some very specific conditions, or this is private money. Private investors always manage their risks in a way that they understand if this is early stage idea and prototype, this is the risk, you know, and that's why you invest with hope. But if there are hard conditions with full responsibility, then this is not anymore like typical risk loan, so, and not early stage loan. Then the question is why you as founder would go in such deep liabilities, you know.
Yeah, thank you. And next question, I think we already kind of answered, but still, maybe you may add something. That what conditions should students, I mean PhDs, be aware of when considering seeking support from an angel investor?
You know, I would say regarding angel investors, angel investor rounds usually you use when you have already kind of some growth stage, whether there is a market validation stage or there is already kind of some validation, and you need to invest more or scale your sales channels or new geographies or whatever. Then you look for angel investors. But when you start idea, this is for angel investing too early. It could be some always specific situations when someone finds someone, and in some way there are kind of feeling between them that okay, this is kind of idea, or usually how it works when angel investment comes from the industry. For instance, there is healthcare startup with some idea, and for instance, this technology, whatever it is, whether some hardware or software, whatever technology, it's for particularly surgery, for instance. and then during the beginnings cooperation and during the start of cooperation and this validation phase, those doctors, those clinics understand this is potential. Then they could become not just like partners, but also as angel investors. Then it makes sense. Otherwise, I would say in so early stage, this is not a typical cooperation when angel investors would jump in idea stage.
So we should consider the support from the angel investor when we actually start sales, or in which state?
At least when you have already kind of prototype or MVP, and you have some market tests or some kind of proof of concept. Oh, of course, always those could be also some very specific letters of intent from direct industry when there is some B2B opportunities there are, and then could be then that those potential cooperation contracts would cover kind of potential value, and then that's also could be a case, but usually you should be already in kind of situation when you have some MVP or something like that.
Thank you. And the last question is that, from your experience, what are the common mistakes early stage startups make and how they can prevent them? Because we are talking about the PhD students, which means that we're so busy with academic works, we don't know how to business should be done properly. And it's very possible that we will make a lot of mistakes. So although we cannot prevent this 100%, even the experienced ones cannot do that. However, I think there should be some tips that eliminate the risks. And what are these tips you can suggest us?
Usually, it's quite a simple thing. Team. It's always this famous saying that when you pitch whatever investors or audience, professional audience in startup world, they are looking for team, and team. And other thing, even idea is not a perfect. If this is good and an ambitious and a right team, then they will pivot and create the product which at the end market will need. So the main thing is to find 1-2 partners within the team, at least one with entrepreneurial experience, who understand what means take a risk. In every society, there are only 4 to 8% people who are capable to take risk and keep stress as entrepreneurs. So whatever idea is, how incredible and unique potential of idea would be, if within the team there is no proper entrepreneur who is capable to take those risks, there will be bad end at the end. So that's the first and main thing what I could suggest always. Other thing is usually this is lack of patience, especially when we talk about technology. It takes time, and that means if you believe in your story that it will bring to the society something good and market will need in the future what you want to bring, you have to be aware that next 5 to 10 years you will you will serve to this idea, not vice versa. So that's the second what definitely you need to take into account.
Okay. And actually, I have one more question. That you mentioned that it's important to have your own team. And I will tell from my experience that currently I have project, and in the very beginning, I tried my best to have the team, but there is like a one problem in this stage, the team gathering stage, that whomever I tell this, so they tell me that what will be my payment here, like how much you will offer me for this work. And I'm saying this that, okay, guys, this is the like very early stage. We are just developing product. I don't have any profit from anywhere. I'm also working like for no profit. So when we start to have the profit, then yes, you will have let's say salary, or you will have some benefit there. But in the early stage, I don't have anything to offer you. And then they said, okay, goodbye. When you have, you will ask us. So how to, in this case, how to manage this situation, and or is they or are they right to demand such thing, or like what is the like a procedure or process here to manage?
It's up to you always whether you are looking for co-founder or employee. And in early stage, you are not looking for employee, you are looking for co-founder. And of course, there could be some things which you outsource and buy from the start capital, but otherwise, there is always very clear first stage when you don't pay salaries, and then you join with people who believe in idea and who are ready to share some time for this idea as potential of the future. So this is very good test for everyone, how to understand whether this is person who in this particular time could be your co-founder, and this is how it works. There is no new no new idea for bike.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's also kind of matter of luck that you find that co-founder who is really ready to invest time and effort to the project. Yeah, I remember like in the beginning, we had some people who wanted to like, how to say, contribute to this project. Then they said, okay, we have another works, like we have so busy schedule, so we cannot invest enough time. Yeah, now I just left alone with the team. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
this is also one more very important aspect of the story. If you are not capable to sell your idea at least to two, three potential co-founders, then the question is whether this idea is so good or valuable. So my point is that there should be at least three, four people in the globe who believe that this is valuable and this is potential. So if not, then maybe you just live in your image about the future and stay there. But this is nothing to do with the business.
Yeah, I would also say that probably it also depends on like our network. My network is mostly the PhD students, and being PhD means that you have a lot of research work. And basically, like it's rare that to find someone who wants to like do his or her research during the daytime, and then after the 6 p.m. they are like ready to do this project works. So like usually students say that, okay, we need like relax after the work, and this is like a quite kind of normal and fair. But yeah, like when you develop the some product as a student, then you should consider a bit more hardworking than others. But yeah, it's kind of not easy to find them. I mean, yeah, it's also, I would say that depends on your network.
You know, it's always very, very good to understand about yourself as personality, what kind of personality you are, whether you are personality who definitely wants to build a business or serve to some idea, you know, and always that's really good to test, to start some cooperation with whatever company who would like to at least get your advice or support in some way, to get more knowledge about yourself and your feeling within the business. And that's already incredibly good input in each path to get understanding about that, how I feel in other organization, whether I feel good about the cooperation, whether I feel good under supervisory, or I feel good that I'm only boss. You know, it's always up to my knowledge about myself, what is my right pace, my right approach, and my capability to inspire others. So,
Yeah, totally agree with you. Okay, I don't have any question, and I would like to check if some question from the audience. As I see, there is no question. And if you have some final comments, you are welcome.
for everyone who has idea about startup, it's very, very important to check about relationship with entrepreneurship. So that's the important part of story. Am I the person who wants to run business or who wants to work on scientific new incredible things? That's the important choice.
Yeah, totally agree. Both are useful for us. Just it depends what we see ourselves in which field. Okay, thank you so much, Martins, and
Thank you.
I hope that our listeners also will enjoy when they listen to this session. And yes, guys, see you next Friday with the new exclusive topic. Bye bye.